Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Saturday morning press briefing on events in Indian River County with Hurricane Wilma. And a lot of things are continuing to occur throughout the county. We're going to have all the power updates, but I need to go over a few items that have occurred since yesterday that I need to pass along to you. First of all, let's talk about the FEMA declaration. The preliminary damage assessment continues throughout the county, and there's been no decision on that, but I should tell you that along with Indian River County, the governor's office has submitted another application for individual assistance. Included in his application to the President of the United States is Brevard County, Okeechobee County, Highland County, Charlotte County, and Indian River County. So we are still waiting for information on any further disaster declarations. As of right now, Indian River County has still not been declared for individual assistance through FEMA, and we'll keep you updated on that. But while we're on that subject, I need to go over some incorrect information that was in the newspaper and some of the media outlets this morning. When they were discussing benefits from individual assistance, the statement was made in the paper that if you have damage that wasn't insured, or if you didn't have sufficient insurance to cover your damage, that FEMA will cover those costs if we have an individual assistance declaration, and that is not true. Your costs would only be covered if you've had major damage to your home that required you to have temporary housing, or you needed immediate assistance to make sure your house was not further damaged. Excuse me. If you have damage like a carport that was damaged, or a tree that's down, or a gutter that came off of your home, or cosmetic damage, none of that will be covered by FEMA. FEMA only covers essential human needs, and that includes temporary housing or coverage of major damage that occurred to your home that you need to have fixed right away, such as a roof being blown off, things of that extent. So please do not think that individual assistance will provide you funding for any type of uninsured damage. It has to be something that's directly related to your shelter and keeping your shelter in place. And as the declaration process goes on, we'll provide you more information on that. Later next week, towards the end of next week, and I'll have more information on this Monday and Tuesday, the state of Florida is going to be setting up food stamp programs that will allow an easy access to food stamps to anyone that had damage from Hurricane Wilma, or anybody that's been impacted financially from Hurricane Wilma and you need assistance purchasing food. That food stamp program will be set up probably around Thursday or Friday. I don't have a lot of information on that right now because we're waiting for the state officials to come in, but I just wanted to give you the heads up that that is going to occur later this week, and Monday and Tuesday we'll have much more information on that as we get the information on the location and the times that will occur. I do want to remind you, I know that we've been off the air for a while because of damage to some of the things in our office. Monday we will start doing our normal tropical update program on this channel so that we can give you the current information on what's occurring in the tropics. I know a lot of you have been wondering what's going on with Hurricane Beta, and Hurricane Beta is moving into Nicaragua. It is not posing any threat to Florida, the United States right now. We don't anticipate that it will, but we still have an active Caribbean out there. The Central Caribbean remains active, and we'll be back to our normal program on Monday. For those of you that have been calling the weather information line that we have here 24 hours a day, that piece of equipment was damaged when the roof caved in here at the Emergency Operations Center, and we are getting that back online. That should be back online by Monday. So those of you that call that number, 567-2129, that number is not operational right now, but it will be operational Monday, and then you will be able to get the weather reports for the county 24 hours a day like you've done in the past. But that, as I said, that piece of equipment was damaged, and we'll have that back online in a little bit. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and have the Florida Power and Light representative come up and give us an update on power restoration here in Indian River County.
Good morning. Sandy Sanderson, Florida Power and Light. The information that I'll be providing to you at this time is accurate as of 9 a.m. this morning, Saturday the 29th of October, which incidentally is the 5th full day of restoration of our effort. We have restored power to 35,400 of our customers that were out of service, and that leaves approximately 13% still out of power, or 6,200 of our customers. Our crews are working round the clock. They're making significant progress, and I have every expectation that we will be able to meet our target dates for restoration. And just to restate those, the targets are November 4th for those customers that are north of State Road 60, and November 8th for our customers that are south of State Road 60. And once again, that is the date or the respective dates where the last handful of customers will come back into service. The majority of those 6,200 customers will have back in service significantly before that time. I wanted to take a moment and share with you a little bit of information about our restoration sequence. And basically what that means is how we actually go about restoring the power. Early on in the process, we were concentrating on the main sources of power. In other words, our power plants, our transmission lines, and the getting power to our feeders. Once we got the powers to the substation and our feeders, the restoration effort was largely outside of the local neighborhoods, and you may not have seen many of our trucks. Well, now we're at the portion where we're energizing the circuits that are in the neighborhoods. So you will see today and tomorrow significantly more of our restoration crews actually in the neighborhoods. Now that's important because a lot of times when our crews are in your neighborhoods and going down the streets of the neighborhoods, the trucks will drive by people that are our customers that are out there waving and trying to get their attention. And I want to make sure all of you know what's happening. Once we've completed our repair of a circuit, and say a lateral circuit will serve one street typically. Once we've completed that restoration, we can't energize the line until we've done a safety inspection. That means a visual inspection of the entire line, every foot of it. So our crews, once the repair is done, have to drive down that street, inspect the line, and then come back to the switch and first call in to our local command center and give them the all clear on that line. And then our command center has to run a check internally to make sure that energizing that line will not endanger any other people or damage our other circuits. Now typically the time between giving the all clear for a line and getting the switching order to go ahead and connect it is a very short period of time. But this is not normal circumstances with the extensive repair that's being done. It may take a little bit of time for us to give the actual go-ahead to the crews. So if you see some of our employees sitting in a truck apparently doing nothing, there's a high likelihood that the reason that they're in that truck waiting is that they've completed their inspection of the line and they're waiting for the order, the go-ahead to connect into service. I thought I would share a little bit of information with you that goes beyond Indian River County, although our focus is clearly here on the county. The system total for Florida Power and Light was 3,241,400 customers out of service initially, and we've restored power to 1,848,600 of those customers. So that's significant to us because we passed the halfway point system-wide. And another point of information that I found interesting was in looking over the data that was collected during our assessment phase, I noted that there were 14,000 poles damaged in this storm. And looking back, I found that last year, if you look at the total poles that we replaced for Charlie, Francis, and Jean, collectively was under 14,000. So this storm, that'll give you a sense of perspective as to the impact of this storm compared to what we went through last year. Again, our crews are making significant progress. We're working round the clock. I have every expectation we'll meet those target dates for restoration for all of our customers here in Indian River County. And at this time, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
How many
Yes.
crews do you have out now in Indian River County?
In Indian River County, we have yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we will have 120 trucks out restoring power.
Do you have any sense as far as where the power outages are mainly at? Are they up in the North County or in the Central County or South County?
Well, they're spread out in pockets throughout the county. And the reason we have the restoration dates as such is that we feel that there's more damage right now in the southern portion of the county. More man hours required to repair that.
You were saying that you had a lot more poles out this time than last time. I would have thought the poles would have been so reinforced that you wouldn't have had the damage that you had last time.
Yes.
Why do you think that occurred, that you had so much more damage?
Well, I can't comment on that. As the storm was approaching, all the data that I reviewed indicated to me that this would not be as significant a storm damage-wise as it turned out to be. So we'll have to, after everybody's restored, we'll go back, reflect upon that, and find out why that happened. But it did cause considerably more damage than we had originally anticipated.
Do you see that you guys might go more to underground lines in the future with what's been going on?
Well, that's something that's being discussed right now. It's important to note that underground lines have their advantages, but they also have their disadvantages. Typically, if you're looking at a storm that's primarily wind damage, then underground service would fare better. If you're looking at a very wet storm where there's a lot of flooding involved, the reverse is true. So there isn't one answer, there isn't one best approach. It all depends on the specific conditions that you're dealing with. But that's something that we have in the past and continue now to examine the relative benefits of undergrounding. Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And while we're on the subject of power, I just want to remind everyone that the City of Vero Beach is reporting that they have 100% power restoration. If you are a customer of the City of Vero Beach and you still do not have power at your home, you need to call 978-5000. Again, that number, 978-5000, and report your outage as soon as possible, because their indications are that they have restored all the power, all the electrical damage. It's possible they could have missed a house if there's a tree limb or something causing the problem. So if you are on the City of Vero Beach power system, make sure you call that number if you still do not have power. Also, FPL, they referenced the trucks that are going around Indian River County. I know that you're used to seeing the trucks with the big bucket that go up on the top of the pole and repair the power lines, but I want to make you aware that the companies that have come in from out of town are also using regular pickup trucks right now to inspect the line damage, to inspect the pole damage, and they're going from house to house in many different parts of the area. Their trucks are clearly identified with their company's name on them. It may not be Florida Power and Light. It'll probably be the company from out of town that they've come to our area. But they will also have proper identification. So if you see one of these pickup trucks pull into your driveway, feel free to ask for proper identification. But if their vehicle is properly labeled, they're pulling into your driveway to go ahead and inspect those lines. So don't expect the big bucket trucks to pull in. It may be something as simple as a pickup truck, and we just wanted to make you aware of that so you didn't think that there was a vendor or somebody coming to your door. At this time, I'd like to ask Bell South to go ahead and give us a report on the telephone situation.
Thank you, Nate. Kathy McKenzie, Bell South. Our Bell South employees are working diligently this weekend to restore the service impacted by Hurricane Wilma. And since yesterday, service has been restored to an estimated 206,000 customer lines, and about 611,000 of our 4.4 million customer lines remain impacted. And in Indian River County, customers still affected by Hurricane Wilma is 7,000, and that percentage of the total lines in Indian River County is 8%. As I said yesterday, most of the lines that have been impacted will be restored as commercial power resumes, or the depleted backup power in our remote terminals. And again, those are the boxes that you see on the corners of the main streets, and they're like a small central office. Well, if commercial power isn't fed into that, or there is not a generator on that, then you will be without service if you are serviced from that particular remote terminal. Fluctuations in the reported numbers that you hear on the media and that I give could